Welcome, everybody. We are live from Uranus.
Woohoo! Or
The other side of Uranus.
Hold on. Yes, like DNW says, hold on to your butts. It's about to start.
I love that stuff. I love that guy.
You love butt stuff. I know. Yeah.
Well, I mean, not always. Anyway, yeah. But good thing Bond Broker is not here. She would shake her head.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm sure she's shaking her head anyway.
She probably is too busy listening to us. So yeah, we All right. So yes, we got what do we got here? We got the indexes. Matt has his Ichimoku and his moving averages pulled up, and what do you see here? It looks like we got some support there, yeah?
Yeah, I'm just focusing on the daily chart because it's interesting developments, I think, on a day-to-day basis now that after on Friday it closed below, it closed the past few days in a row above the 100-day moving average. So I think that's something to pay attention to, guys. Even though it's back below the 585, it seems to have found some support here. So ultimately, that is 581.01. I'm sure that'll change tomorrow throughout the day. But that's the focus, right? Just try to stay above 581 day over day. Then I think it can actually slowly overcome this 585. And this could end up just being like maybe a quick liquidity grab underneath this major support zone to then eventually go back higher. So day over day, just watching that 100-day moving average specifically. All right. And let's go to the QQQ. And daily chart actually tells a good story too, right? It went down right to the bottom of the Ichimoku cloud. On linear scale, it even went through the 1.618, 504.16, closed yesterday above, even closed today back above 2. So this is also looking kind of like a bottoming process for QQQ as well. And then we go to IWM, the scary IWM here, and we can see price did not get back above that 702 yet, the 219.79. But what did it do yesterday? It went down to the 200-day moving average for the first time. And this was the first time since August 5th. And we know August 5th was the scary trade event. And now we got equal kind of like liquidity down there again. And I think that might be all the pain you see. So I'm going to pay attention to this 219.79 for the rest of the week. See if we can get back above it. Why is that? Because if you go here, you can see this has been spending the past 3 out of the 4 weeks above that level. So getting back above that 219.79 would be actually very good. And better yet, even back above that baseline at 220 would be even better, 220.84. So this is still looking like a potential bottom for the IWM. So that kind of means for the QQQ, SPY, and IWM, things kind of look like most of the pain is already priced in to the equation.
And if you just zoom out just a little bit more, you can see it's not crashing. It's not going back to zero. It's clearly above the cloud, and it's above the moving average, and it's made higher highs and higher lows.
Yeah, and my green line right here is the 50-week moving average. And actually, since it broke out here on November 27th, it never even touched it, not once, right? So not even here. Like, despite all the panic, it still hasn't touched it once. So not sure if it needs to, but it could just take more time before the average catches up to price as well.
It might feel a little bit like 2022 all over again, but you know what? We had a lot of history, a lot of support building between 2022 and now. And so we don't have to go back down all through that again. We can make some new higher highs.
Yeah, well, what we had in 2022 was lower highs and lower highs and lower highs and lower highs. And now we have higher high, higher high, higher high, higher high. So it's completely the opposite situation of before. This is a bullish market structure. This was a bearish market structure. So it's not the same.
Yeah. Not the same at all.
Why aren't people back yet, though? Like all those people that left in 2020, 2022, why aren't they back yet? It's been forming higher highs and higher lows. Why is sentiment so terrible?
Because it's not in the all-time high territory. They got to wait until it gets to 267, and then they'll buy, and then it'll crash back down to like the 250s, and then they'll sell. So that's what's going to really happen. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep, and you guys have seen that fear greed cycle chart before. Or, I'm not talking about Kat and Matt. I'm talking about you guys in the audience out there. Here, pull up my screen for a second, Matt, and I'll just I've got it right here in the middle of my Tesla chart. There we go. Greed, buy, fear, sell. When people get greedy, they want to buy, but actually that's your highest level of financial risk. What you really want to do is you really want to start over down here when it's red. You want to buy when everyone else is terrified and it's really scary and everyone's discouraged and they think, oh, this stock is trash, the market's trash, everything's crashing, everything's going to zero. That's when you want to buy, and you hold it until it gets back into the greed euphoria cycle. And that's when you start taking some off the table and you get back and put it back into cash so that you're ready for when it comes back into the fear cycle yet again. And it just kind of goes, if I could turn this chart on its side, I mean, kind of sideways a little bit, that's what we get. You kind of get it up and down and up. And when it's making higher highs and higher highs, you still have the cycle, but it's kind of going up an angle a little bit. And you just have to kind of learn to sell up here, buy down here, sell up here, buy down here, which is tough, right? It's tough to trade in and out, and it's much better if you can, instead of operating on a 4-hour cycle, operate on a weekly chart and be like Matt and buy when things are really, really down here in the crapper zone. And, I called the bottom down here. Not a whole bunch of people, a bunch of people that followed me bought. Not everyone did. I traded in and out, and boy, do I wish I had not. Because now here we are way up here. After the bottom was down there, but that's not my cost basis though, because I kept trading in and out. All right, so anyway, that's the fear and greed cycle again. Remember, you want to buy when it's red and everyone's scared. Like we had like the whole basically ever since Powell opened his mouth in December. That's when things started to go all red again, and you wanted to be buying. And now we're just waiting for it to turn all green so we can sell a little bit, raise some cash.
Yeah, thank you for not showing that like the market psychology chart thing, because that chart was like right from the dot-com bubble crash from Cisco, and I don't know why everybody keeps going back to the dot-com bubble crash from Cisco, and like they actually like use their chart and they compare the current market structure to like the Cisco chart because they don't know where the heck it came from. That made absolutely no sense at all whatsoever. So thank you for not showing that.
Yeah. No, this one's a little different. This one's just a little, this one's a little bit more. And, it really is just a circle. You take a sine wave, you take this part, you flip it over here. It's just a cycle. It's a cycle. It's a circle. It's the Ouroboros, the dragon eating its tail. It just rotates from here to there. But then you kind of take it apart and go. We experience time in a linear fashion, so it really does sort of feel like a sine wave, up and then down, and up and down, and up and down. Don't repeat until broke. Don't buy up here and then sell down here. Don't be like that. Be like Matt. Do the opposite.
Be like Matt. That's the moral of the story.
Don't be like that. Be like Matt and be like Kat too. Got to rhyme all three of those. How about that?
Yeah, be like Matt.
Kat even buys like before any of that stuff. He loves the pain. He's the pain.
Yeah, because I'm crazy. Yeah. No, yeah, if you want to go to my screen real quick, I'll show you which chart I'm talking about. Like everybody keeps on referring to this chart right here.
Oh
like,
yeah,
this is Cisco, right? Like why are you referring every single thing? Like if you actually like try to overlay the Cisco chart, nobody knows where this is coming from. This is Cisco. That's what it is.
Oh, that totally is. It's hilarious.
Yeah, and it makes no sense. Like people are saying, oh, it's gonna crash, and then next thing like nobody compares it to like the Amazon chart where it just like shot way up. Like it's just anyway. Like don't ever quote the Cisco chart and like expect me to take that post seriously. So anyway, yep, I'm done. Yeah, Matt, take it away, man. I don't want to see I
Well,
don't want to see the Cisco chart anymore.
well, there is a question really about SoFi. They're going to do crypto trading, Cat, on
They
SoFi.
took it. Yeah, I didn't know that's news to me. If that's the case, that's great. You know what probably was though. They probably took crypto away in preparation of like Gary Gensler and stuff like that. Now that the guy is leaving, maybe the Nodo is just like, hey, let's do it.
Nodo knows. Yeah.
Nodo knows. Nodo knows.
But yeah, SoFi looks beautiful, guys. Just since I brought it up. And it was a perfect back test of the 618, 1369, and the orange level up my GAN too. So does it need to go lower? No, not necessarily. I mean, a lot of times things do like to back test like previous levels. Like there's a wick here in July. Like, well, what about this? Does it need to come down here to the 11? Not necessarily, right? Like, just look at XRP. Ooh, yeah, XRP right here. No.
Oh, yeah.
XRP just broke out and it didn't even look back, right? So a lot of things, they don't have to back test levels all the time. But it is a little bit extended, so it's not really looking like it's going to break above the 16 anytime soon. But maybe it can just stay in this range, build a base on top of this 1369 and go higher. So I do like SoFi. I am a buyer once again in this zone. So yeah, it's good.
Oh wow, you're buying SoFi again? Okay.
Yeah, I'm
cool.
buying SoFi again. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. I just do nothing. I just hold. But yeah.
Yeah, I should have held too, but I thought I was going to get rejected way down here, but it never did. So therefore, I'm back in it, baby. Back in.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Yeah. I mean, the whole downtrend over the last 2 months is on like decline volume. The whole downtrend looks a little bit exhausted. So it's right into 0.618. I think it's gonna do pretty well.
Yeah. I think it's gonna easily go back to the 18s, to the 20s. It's gonna maybe even do something like Palantir, right? Possibly.
Yeah. You mean go down like 25-30%? Everybody freaks out.
It's over. It's a bearish chart automatically because it lost $10.
$35 is when the real value is, Matt.
Sorry. I thought it was -1. So
Yeah.
I thought.
Right. We shouldn't be so arrogant because next thing you know, it goes back to
it does go to the crash. It's the next Enron. No,
it's the next Cisco.
Yeah. Whoops.
Ooh. Okay. All right.
So I guess we're gonna talk about Tesla, or do you want to show your SoFi chart?
I don't have much else. I mean, it's basically the same thing. I'm seeing 0.61. I think it holds. The volume says it does. So we'll see. If it goes down a little bit lower, that's even better. But like at this point, I don't even feel like adding SoFi anymore. It's just not like it's just not the kind of chart that I want to add to.
It's just too boring, right?
Yeah, like I'm just gonna hold what I got. I'm just gonna let it do its thing. So.
Just hodl until it's all-time highs and the 40s and the 50s and the 60s.
Yeah, because it's got such a big like resistance zone here between now to all the way to like 24, 25. It's just got a lot of price history here. I don't know whether or not it's just gonna like moon from here. Like you said, it probably took its time. Just because a lot of people who bought like a few years ago might be looking to sell because of all the recession narratives or rates higher for longer narratives. So like I don't know. I'm just gonna hold and just let it do its thing. So.
Well, but you have earnings coming up, right?
Yeah. I mean, earnings don't matter much for SoFi because they've had great earnings for the last 3 quarters. It didn't pop until like the most recent couple ones, but yeah.
Maybe we'll have a great earnings report because all the people that are borrowing money from them right now.
Yeah.
They'll be all this new revenue coming in.
That is true. Yeah. They do like giving those personal loans too.
Yeah.
They do. You want to look at the ARK chart then? Since we also talk about the ARK.
Oh yeah, ARKK. We'll go with the ETF.
Literally, when you're talking about the that market cycle psychology chart, Vol 888 was joking. He says he thought that was the ARKK chart.
It's kind of similar though, but it's not like it's not over that steep, I guess. Well, I guess it is that steep, right? Cisco is pretty high too. I can't even remember.
And then Legend Double Knot 7 was really impressed that Cat pulled out the Cisco chart and showed that that's the chart. That's the one from that psychology.
Nobody knew it until Cat said this is Cisco. See, Cat knows the chart.
I talked about it for like 2 or 3 years. Just nobody listened because I was like a small account. But yeah, anyway.
Cat's got this crazy you got this photographic memory, don't you?
Like on charts apparently. Like I don't. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
ARK fund looks great.
yeah.
Resistance-ish.
So
But
yeah, just looking at the GAN alone, this orange level is the beautiful level of support. And what happened is it just went back to the 45-degree angle and this arc, and it got rejected. So it was an obvious resistance zone. But guess where price is back right now? It is right back at this right here, the 382 Fibonacci level right here. So that is 56.15. And we can now zoom in and we can take a look at what's happening. So after it broke out above, it's back tested it, and it even wicked down below this week, and it's still above. So that is still your support zone, and there's really no need to go lower. Sure, it could go back and back test these previous levels, and I'm sure if we put on the Ichimoku here, we can see that there is the baseline and other stuff down below, but it's not really guaranteed to go down there, and it has a good chance of holding this level. So for ARKK, this is actually really good for growth stocks that they could be near a bottom for just maybe building a base and get back up all this resistance and go higher. So the next levels I'm really watching for ARK is maybe the 68 and then the all-important 618 up here too, 83, and the blue level of my GANs at 90. So I think it can get there, perhaps even this year. So I think this is looking more and more bullish as time goes on.
Mm-hmm. I would use it as an indicator of its smaller components.
Yeah. What about you guys? Do you guys have a ARKK chart?
no, I mean we're pretty much saying. I mean, it's higher highs and higher lows. There's nothing else to say about it. So,
oh yeah,
yeah. Like it can form a higher low. You don't know how low the low is going to be, but like there's nothing else really to say about it. It's going to be bullish. So.
Yeah, it's bullish. Nothing else to say. It was bearish. Very bearish before. Now it's bullish. So not the same market structure as before.
I can give you a quick peek at my ARKK. It's a retrace chart where it just basically tries to recover its all-time high. So back to from its all-time high of 159.70 down to the low it made after that of 29.43. It wants to do an A, B, C, a 382, 236, 618 retrace. Actually, look at all these buy orders, or these sell orders already set to go here. Like it's going to hit this tomorrow or something. I wonder if this actually isn't more interested in a 764 than a 618, which would look a little bit more like this. Probably, could it go to the 50 and then down to the 382? Something like that. So maybe look for that in ARKK. It's going to take a while to get there. And, I didn't do a fib extensions on these yet, but I guess I could soon. Anyway, there you go. It given enough time, the recovery should look like this, and then one day it'll make new higher highs, and then that's when it's going to look like. If I pull up my template for the TGM template, and reverse it. And there you go. So 193.47 for the 127.2 and the $212 for the 141.4. These are just Matt's retrace levels, which really work out quite nicely. I've been using them a lot lately and really enjoying them. That's it. That's my ARKK chart.
Zoom over to me real quick, Matt. Yeah, zoom over to me real quick. Remember what tracker's showing, and then you see this is a Cisco chart. It's the same. So good job, tracker. I think you predicted the future. Good.
Yeah, look at it. Once they get to 76, and then it has to test back down for support again. But once it gets over that magic 76, which I've colored blue now, then that's when it can start going higher and higher.
Isn't that beautiful how Cisco worked out with these? These are log fips, by the way. Like, isn't it how beautiful how it just bounced from one fip level to another? Like, I think tracker is going to predict the future. But anyway, now that we talked about ARK, let's talk about Tesla real quick, shall we?
Yes.
And,
Woo!
Who's that?
If you're scared about Tesla, like you can't be. I understand if you're scared about MicroStrategy. I understand if you're scared even about Bitcoin. I understand if you're scared about FUBO. I understand if you're scared about like quantum stocks. But you're scared about Tesla. I don't know what else to tell you. Like it's a high time frame bullish chart, and it can go plus or minus 20-30%, and none of that really matters. the entire thing to me, I think initially I just thought it was way outside the upper Bollinger on the monthly. It came back tested almost perfectly. It's touching it, so it's no longer technically overextended. You know, it's kind of like touching it kind of a little bit half-ass actually, like tack. You know, just well, never mind. I just want to go higher. Like it's got that look to it, and the monthly bullish trend continues to expand. You have the monthly 21 average continues to curl up. It's a pretty bullish chart. I don't know what else to say. Like whenever you have a start of very impulsive bull market, this is how it generally starts, right? Even here, it looks like there's a little bit lackluster. Like it didn't have that big expansion like you do right here. So I think this is a little bit more of an indicative trend for something that's going to be a little bit more impulsive, like here or like here, rather than like that little like flaccid little thing right there. It just looks a little bit more impulsive. There's really nothing else. I can show you everything else. When things are getting closer, like you have a wick that made an all-time high, like it doesn't matter. I can't show you Ichimoku. I can show you anything. Like everything else is going to look bullish for you. The question is just, it's such a powerful trend on the way up that if you expect to be like a V-shape, like a V-shape crashing down, I think the probability is really, really low. And whenever things look like they're at the cusp of making like all-time high, generally they do. People say that it's like a double top, but everything's a double top until they make all-time highs.
Well, so, Palantir did that too. Palantir on the monthly candle, it wicked above and closed below for that month, and the next month went up 61%.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't really know if there's anything really to get scared about here. I mean, I can keep showing you stuff over and over again. I can say that, hey, you know what? When are you going to sell Tesla? Well, not now because the bullish band is just starting to expand. When are you going to sell it? Well, I'm going to see how far it extends downwards. If it extends all the way down like the cycle over here, then I might be a little bit more cautious whenever it starts to curl back up. And even if it starts to curl back up, it might still not be over, right? It really is getting over whenever it really gets, the bullish band, lower bullish band really gets closer back to price. That's when it really is starting to get a little bit toppy, which happened 2 cycles now. Like this happened here and this happened here. So I'm just gonna like let it do its thing at this point. If you want to trade in and out, you know, I think there are certainly levels you can do that, follow tracker, you know, but for me, I'm just more interested in just riding the cycle because it looks like something maybe more impulsive is going to happen. So anyway, back to you guys, whoever wants to go.
I just want to say for the uninitiated, if you're looking at the Tesla chart and you're confused, this is the logarithmic chart, not the linear chart. So the numbers just, they go up by tens, by a scale of tens on the price side there.
Yeah,
they go really fast.
Yeah, this is
it gives you a lot of detail when you're looking at the bottom side of the scale.
Yeah, I can't make anything out of the linear chart. It just looks like a blob. So because it's like an asset that's growing exponentially. So if you're gonna get a much clearer picture in terms of the behavior of the stock, do log. You know, like it's just a way to really look at more exponential assets, and that's really the only the best way to do it. Anyway,
it's got to look like a Trojan horse, like Margin Call was saying.
Yeah. Or dragon with like 2 feet. You know, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
And my favorite way to look at these logarithmic charts is with one of Matt's Gann charts behind it, where you can clearly see it just keeps going up it follows a 45-degree angle and it just hits each Gann level one after the other.
Yeah, I saw your fractal that you posted on X, Matt. You want to show us?
Oh yeah, why not? When in doubt.
And then we'll pass the baton to Tracker and let him just go off on Tesla.
Yeah, so I posted this today on X, and it's gotten quite a few views now. And we can see that what I did is right here in the beginning of when it started to first break out, like right around here into like new all-time highs. See, this was the previous all-time high in 2012. Then right here it just started to break into all-time highs, kind of like what it's doing right now. So I took this fractal from here all the way up to the highs in 2022 here, and I just put it right on top of where price is right now. And what do you know? It matches all the Gann levels perfectly, starting with a straight shot to the 45-degree angle, right? Then the arcs here, and then it loses the angle as support, goes down the arc a little bit as resistance, and then it goes to the green level, gets rejected for years, right? Gets rejected for years, comes back down, then it shoots straight up to the arc, comes back down and back tests almost the green level, and then straight up towards the 40,000 level, right up
Yeah.
there.
40,000.
So this fractal, it matches the market symmetry so perfectly from basically when it first broke out into all-time highs, just like what price is doing right now. So perhaps we could get something as exponential. This chart says it's not impossible because it is following the math perfectly here. So this is interesting. It's an interesting development. Not saying that it's going to happen, but even more interesting than that is, does this actually mean it's going to get to that 45-degree angle in March of 2025 at 1100? No, I don't think so. Right. Right. I mean, if it did get there, that'd just be insane, right? So we'll see. But, yeah,
that would definitely reach my $711 target by July 18th.
Actually, but somebody did just make a comment, and they were talking about oh no, that was MicroStrategy. Never mind, not Tesla. So, anyways, just disregard that. But yeah, this is just an interesting concept here that maybe it's possible in the year 2034. Maybe this could be the price way up there, right? So something to ponder about. But in the meantime, let's go back to reality. Let's get out of Uranus here and just go back to Earth.
No, but I don't want you to get out of your wait. No, wait.
No, I got to get out of there. All right. Anyways, so back to reality here. What happened this morning? So I was live with Tracker this morning. And I'm like, well, don't get excited about price opening up at 414, guys. Just don't do it, because that is the previous all-time high. That's going to be resistance, and it's probably going to get rejected. And this conversion line is still going to be resistance too, the 407.56. And sure enough, it just got sold off, right? But has anything changed with the sell-off? No, not at all. It was just a test of resistance and back down to where the levels were basically last week, right? So last week we saw a couple back tests. Actually, last week it did not back test 378. I don't know why that wick is still there. Do you guys have an answer for that? Like, somebody was talking about like a ghost order or something that went down there. I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense.
I don't believe in no ghost. I mean,
well, no, like I can go to the time frames. Like, look at this. See the daily chart. It says right there on January 10th that it went down below 378. It went to 377. But if you go to the 15-minute chart on Tesla here, and you zoom in, when you go to January 10th, where is January 10th? Yeah, like right down here. It only got down to right here, 380, right? 380.
Yeah, no, I do have that 377 on my chart as well.
Yeah, so I don't understand where that wick is coming from, because it did not touch the 886 last week. It did not. It got down to 380 only. So it's just a weird, interesting thing. Not sure what's up with that. But anyways, we're going to go to the daily chart here, and I'm going to show you exactly what happened on the daily chart. So it opened right under the 414.50, went up to the baseline, got rejected, and then it closed back down below the conversion line. So it's just in a range, guys. That's all it is. And maybe it's going to stay in this range for a little bit more time to get closer to the cloud, right? And then maybe closer to the cloud, it'll go higher. But it could just maybe want to go higher sooner. We don't know. But the problem is, I mean, the fact is, this chart is super bullish. And no matter what it does, if it wants to range here, if it wants to retest the levels in the 370s, if it wants to go higher, it just doesn't matter, because this chart is extremely bullish, and it's going to go much, much higher in the future.
Yeah. So funny, a DNW in the chat is clearly a Homestar Runner fan. He made a reference to Trogdor the Burninator. And then he says,
Matt. Already called my boss and quit.
So I only watched Cinemax. So yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, Homestar Runner. It's an old webcomic animation thing. So let's see if I pull up. I'm gonna do my Tesla chart real quick here. Just on the 8-hour time scale, you can also see. Let's see. Price came right up to the Ichimoku baseline. That was the wick, and then it dropped right back down to the through the conversion line to my moving average 75 right there. Wicked through it, closed back above it, and yeah, I think we're ready to just start coming back. It's going to bounce between the conversion and the baseline again for a little bit, And then finally, once it gets over 415, once it can close a candle over 415.03, that magic 78.6% fib again, then we can start to get back to making higher highs than we had back over here. So once you see a candle close over 415, which kind of also just proves that the old 414.50 all-time high has become support again, and then it can keep going up. I was surprised that it ever lost it, honestly, and then I was really surprised that it went below 400. But, you know, I guess they just had to get that liquidity back here. People had all their stops and everything set below 400, thinking that was a safe place, just like I did. I thought that would be a safe place, but it was not safe. Not safe. And then here I've got a bigger Tesla chart to show you guys now, where
Uranus
same thing. I
not a
took a
safe
fractal.
place.
Exactly, not a safe place. Took a
Sorry.
fractal from the 2021. Oh, you're fine. 2021 to 2022. It kind of does this weird ABC corrective move up. And from this move, 100% from the high to the low, it goes up 195.07% to 415.50. And if you take the same thing back here from this low to this high and do a fractal, 195.07% is my $711 target, which I think we could reach by mid-July. And here is how it would do it with exactly these fibs and stuff. So I made a smaller fib. Basically, here's your 1, 2, 3, 4, and now we're in the fifth wave, and I subdivided the fifth wave based off of the bottom of the. Let's see, actually, from right about here, I think that lines up pretty well. So there you go. Looking for 515 next, just a toe over $500 next, before it plunges it back down to 444 again. Oh no, it's all over. And then no, then it makes a new higher high and it gets over 600. And then back to halfway between 500 and 600 is like 550.88, and then on to my 711 target. And it might extend higher than this, but let's just go with this for now. So there you go. There's my tracker pie in the sky of predictions using Fibonacci ratios and Fibonacci extension rules. And look at all that bullishness down here in the MCDX plus. It really is like this crazy bullish chart. They're buying it hand over fist, all three here.
What's going to happen after it gets to C, though?
After it gets to where? 700?
To C, yeah. I guess we'll get there when we get there, but I'm just curious.
Let's see. There's two ways it could go. Either it continues really bullishly, and we retrace from the 711 high back to my wave 2 start.
Boy, it's obviously going to be $1,000 by March, guys. Come on now.
I know, right? A standard retrace would take it to 385 for the 618, but a more bullish retrace on these charts would actually take it to the 50% level, and that looks like 465. This high is in the way. 465.96. So that might be where it retraces to, and then it's going to be like stuck in another. It'll probably be another consolidation cycle, maybe like from here to there to there to there for a little while, and you know it could be short or it could be long, but that's where I would expect to see the next consolidation cycle. And who knows, maybe Matt's got a chart with a nice Gann horizontal line right around here, around 600-ish, for it to do that around.
No, not currently. No.
Not currently. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it just keeps going higher. Maybe
no,
I
can see like 600 or 700 being resistance. I can see that. Like it's not, I just don't know how it's going to react once it gets there. So.
Well, yeah, 607 is the 1.272 Fibonacci extension on log scale. So, boom, 607.
Boom, there you go. Here, Matt, show your chart, and then that's my outro to talk about.
Right here, the 1.272 Fib extension. Right here is 607. So yeah, this has potential to get there.
Ooh, 741. I like that even better than 711.
Yeah, I like this one here, 987. The 1.618, that's $1,000 by March, right? Yeah. Okay.
Woohoo.
That's good.
Stop it. Stop.
One can dream, right? One can dream.
Fee Chang was asking what was my big green arrow, and that's just like when I have a bullish W drawn on my charts. Go back. I'll show you real quick. So we're talking the same language. I talked about this in the morning show, Matt Speed in the morning with Tracker. I identify these W's, the bullish W. This one came down a little bit lower. I was really expecting it to take off from here, and it didn't. We kind of came down to here. We usually get like a W and then like one last little grab, and then it takes off. So yeah, I'd like to see it come all the way up to 448.58 next after this. All right, that's it. That arrow is not safe for work. That's hilarious. Yeah, what
Depends on where you
WV?
work.
So
I mean,
it's just a pattern. It's a lot of times you see these bullish W's, and then right here it kind of comes down, and then it just takes off from there. So I look for those all the time. I'm much more interested in looking for these than I am looking for head and shoulders. All right. Well, I think we beat that horse. What else should we talk about?
We didn't see Cat's Tesla, did we? Did we see your
a
Tesla?
little bit. I mean, I kind of jumped right into it and showed the bull in Japan. We're good.
Yeah,
We're good.
yeah.
Nothing more Tesla. No more Tesla to add. No.
I mean, not really.
No?
I mean, I can.
No?
Yeah, there's really nothing else. Yeah,
Okay.
you beat it to
Don't
death.
buy a PlayStation 5. Buy Tesla shares instead, and 10 years from now, it'll be worth $390,000.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, there's only like one thing, I guess, on a weekly. I don't have anything else like crazy, but
Sure, show us your weekly.
yeah, it's really simple. We're stuck in a range. The reason why we're stuck in a range is because you got a trees at the top over here. You got a little bit of a trees at the bottom over here, which is why I actually had a little bit of like skepticism that it's going to go down that low. Because it's actually got a pretty decent demand zone down here. It could. Sometimes tweezers don't work out. It just kind of plummets down. But usually whenever you have like a tweezer, it's a pretty good top, it's a pretty good bottom. So we did end up kind of filling the wick here with a little bit of a candle, but it just had a hard time pushing down because it's a pretty decent demand zone out here. So I like these like tweezer, I like these like tridents kind of thing, and I like this like this like a reverse trident, like pointing up kind of like that. This is a very nice tweezer top here. So I like seeing these kinds of things. This is another like really nice trident. This is like a classic trident down here. So I like seeing these things. Whenever I see that thing, oh, that could be a top, that's okay. Here, I'm not that scared. You got two nice wicks down here, so it could go down a little bit further, and these tweezers don't always have to work out. But I'm not. It looks like there's a pretty decent demand going down there, so that's all.
Very good.
Yeah.
And there is a question in your BB settings. I mean, I think you just got to use log scale and the monthly chart.
That's all I do. I don't change anything. I mean, except for the color. I don't like background because background sucks. So I don't change anything. 20 SMA, standard deviation 2. As vanilla as can be. Like I don't like to change the Ichimoku class settings. Some people like to change that. I don't really like to.
But you're only going to get the Trojan horses on the monthly chart, guys. So you can't do it on the weekly chart.
Yeah.
Monthly and logarithmic scale.
And it has to be a very, very impulsive stock, like Palantir, when the current bull trend is extremely bullish, and it's still.
Wait, is that back testing the upper Bollinger Band? Just right meow, right meow,
right meow. It's a little bit underneath of it. Oh no, like it's at 66.19 right now. Price is 65.91. So it actually, there are a lot of reasons to why it's very, very hard for the stock to crash all the way down to like 35, which is where the value is really at. There's just a lot of like support on the Ichimoku monthly, Tenkan and Kijun. On the weekly, you have the conversion line here. Not the conversion, you have the baseline there. I don't use those terminology. Gosh. You also have the Verizon support band down here. You also have like just it's just a full bull trend. Like I don't see why it would have to crash all the way down to 35 to like the 50 week, like it doesn't necessarily have to make sense for it to have to do that just because it's on a parabola right now. And a lot of times when things are in a parabola, they have to correct whenever it gets a little bit too far outside the upper Bollinger Band, like we did back in December. If you were buying the peak right here in December way outside the upper Bollinger Band, you're probably doing it wrong. And if you're basically getting really bearish and you're trying to sell whenever it's just trying to come back and touch the expanding upper Bollinger Band, I think that might be the wrong move. I don't want to be absolute about anything. But you also look at the lower Bollinger Band is expanding all the way down to the negatives. This is a very, very, very impressive bull trend. And I was just kind of showing you Tesla, right? Tesla, whenever something like this happened over the last really big parabolic cycle, it just kept going down, and then price kept going up. It just kind of loop around, and then price actually topped whenever the Bollinger Band starts to come back from Earth to whenever it's visible again. That's usually when the top is. So the whole what do you call that? Like a parabolic top it's very impossible to call a top actually. Usually the blow off top is a very unusual phenomenon. It doesn't happen very often, but because it's such a sensational thing, like everybody likes to look at a blow off top. But the reality is that usually you have a period of consolidation, a lot of like signs of exhaustion before you actually have price just kind of plummeting down. I'm not really seeing that here with Palantir, both in terms of Bollinger Band, both in terms of the monthly RSI. There's not really any like bearish diversions on the monthly. On the 2-week, I'm not picking up any bearish diversions on the way up. On the weekly, I'm not really picking up any bearish diversions, just RSI cooling down from like the high 80s all the way down to the 60s, which is healthy, right? I mean, that's what it kind of did. Like here, you have a bearish divergence here, and we end up going sideways for like a whole year before going up, right? Like price kind of going up a little bit bearish divergence. You're getting a little bit tired. You're trying to rest up here, and now it's just kind of boom. Like right now RSI just kind of reset, so it can keep going up higher on bearish divergence. I'm looking for that to happen, but right now we're trying to find a higher low, and I think Matt's got a Gann chart in terms of why he thinks that we might be at support. So I'm gonna let you take it away.
Okay, let's see. PLTR.
Matt, before you get into it, can I just show one thing on my Palantir chart?
Oh, fine.
One thing. Ooh,
if you look
like
here on the monthly chart, these are monthly candlesticks. The MCDX plus down here showing all the whale activity, basically all of 2024, they've just been buying it hand over fist. They can't get enough of the stock. That's why it's going up. That's why it's, it's basically the Bollinger Band expansion. It's going up as fast as it possibly can due to, the limits of chart physics, basically, because it's getting massively bought. So if you just think of it in those terms, then yeah, there's no reason for Palantir to crash down at all. It's going to want to just keep going up and up and up until you see one of these candles start to fall. And not this month. That's all I wanted to show. MCDX plus, lots of institutions are buying.
All right, yeah. So my Palantir chart here, I have a new Gann that I created just so we can see some confluence of symmetry at the top here and why price kind of got rejected in this zone. And yeah, that basically the $77 zone was a resistance zone, and kind of it tried to be support because there's also a fib level at $78. So it really tried to battle there for a while, but it ended up failing. But it's just going back down to this arc right here right now, which is so far support. And I was talking with Kat, and I was just showing him like basically, actually no, he made a post that it could go a little bit further down to like 58 or something. I'm like, well, maybe it could just trickle down this arc right here, right, until it gets down to that low, or it doesn't even need to. It could just stay in this zone for a couple of weeks and then come back higher. So we don't really know for sure, but this is looking like a possibility that it doesn't want to go lower than here. So just don't need any other indicators right now. Just going to focus on this. And yeah, we'll just see if it does want to just trickle down this arc for a few weeks or so and then get back up to the $78, $77 level and then go higher. So that's what I'm really looking on. But yeah, just a very bullish chart. There's nothing sad about this at all. And I mean, we've seen declines like this before, right? From here, we've seen declines here, from here. Like every single time it went down, did everybody think it's going to go over or be over? Like when it went down to here back in January 2024, was it over? Was it over here? Was it over? Like, I mean, I don't really know. Do you know the feel of the market back then, Kat?
I mean, I know a lot of people are trying to fade every single pop because it's been stuck in range for a very long time until it doesn't. So that's
but
generally
I'm
how
sure when it
goes.
went back to 16 after being at 21, they're like, oh, it's over, right? I'm sure was the market sentiment at that time, you know?
Yeah, I actually have a chart where I was trying to draw. I drew like 3 levels. I draw like 14, 17, 20, 20/21. And I said that it's gonna go like it's gonna bounce from one level to another. Did exactly what I did. I wish I could
Yeah.
show it, but I actually can. But don't worry about it. It's from like
Okay.
a couple years ago. But yeah, like, it did exactly what I thought it was gonna do because it had to consolidate that big giant move, right?
Yeah.
And that's basically what we're doing right now. I think we just need to kind of consolidate here, but because of the monthly being so parabolic, I actually don't think we have to consolidate there for like the entire half a year to a year like we did before. I think things are going to move faster.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that we're not going to consolidate here for a little bit longer, for a few weeks, like you said. So
Yeah. I mean, I could actually see things like coming back up here, but then getting rejected again at 78 and coming back down a little bit again. I can see something like that and then going higher. So I don't know. I don't know if we'll break through on the first touch on the way back to 78. So
yeah, fair.
we'll see.
We'll see.
All right, what's next?
I'm just counting back 29 weeks for the calculation of the Ichimoku baseline, and it seems like after maybe 3 or 4 weeks now, that average is going to shift and let the baseline come up a good bit. So maybe it just needs a few more weeks for that baseline to shift up and come up to like $65, $69, and that'll kind of prop it up and let it push off into the making new higher highs zone.
Yeah, I mean that's possible. Like if we go 26 candles back, that's like right here. I don't know. The low's not going to change. The baseline's not going to change until there's 3 more weeks.
Exactly.
Like it has to get, or 4 weeks. It has to get. This has to be the new low over here. So yeah, maybe 4 weeks. It's not going to change. So yeah. So there we have it. All right, what's next on the menu?
Well, I guess we should do. Go ahead. No, good.
No. I mean, somebody mentioned NVDA, like a few semiconductor stocks. I think we probably won't go for all of them, but we can do NVIDIA real quick, and then we can talk about Bitcoin and then do a few requests and call it a night. Or XRP, sorry. Don't forget that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh yeah, because somebody was talking about Bitcoin dominance. I'm pretty sure they meant to type XRP. So yeah. I think that's a typo, Bob. Yeah, it's XRP. Yeah. Anyways, so NVIDIA, yeah, 131. No change, guys. Like, there's really nothing for me to report back because it's stuck. It's stuck inside of a range between the 120s and the 150s. That's it. That's all it is. Like, really, it's consolidating at a higher level, building the base at a higher level. So there's nothing to fear about this stock at all. And even when you go to the daily chart here, we can see that it's battling the cloud, right? It's trying to stay inside of it. It did not for the past couple of days. So is it going to just collapse from there? No, I don't think so. And even if it does, there is still way more support below. So I don't really have much to say, except it's just in the same range it's been in basically since July, August, right? That time.
Yeah. And if you want, I could show my NVIDIA targets when it does finally break out of the sideways range that it's in. We should see, I'm looking for 182.63 back to 162.19. That's the 123.6 fib back to the 100% extension fib. And then my 2236 is up here for 269.22 for the fifth wave melt up. And I did that by starting my chart from, where did it start? Fib extension starts rate. Oh, whoa, way down here. So I kind of went to the beginning of time, kind of from 1080 to 96 to 75. And then I get these fib extensions. And it's been doing pretty well so far. 764, 618. It's a little weird right here, but yeah, that's what I'd like to see next. Once it just gets done going sideways, oscillating around, like Matt said, just around these, watch these Ichimoku weekly conversion and baselines. The baseline is not even coming close to it. It's just oscillating around the conversion line. Do you want to talk about Does anyone else want to talk about NVIDIA?
If you want to pass it to me real quick, I'll talk about NVIDIA
Okay.
a little bit there. Yeah, it's so I did a heretic, sacrilegious Gann chart here, based on what Matsby had taught me. So if I'm wrong, it's all his fault. But the question is, so where are we at right now, right? I did it all the way back from the duck and bubble start, not start, but it was really like getting really heated up right there. And this is I think 720 and 5, so it gives pretty good decent market symmetry here. I just look at the last three bull cycle here, here, and here. It's just looked like it's got some pretty decent market symmetry. Whenever it gets pushed through this arc up here, just decided to touch the horizontal line up here above, and we did the same thing. Like we spent some time here at the horizontal at the arc here. It looks like it probably wants to gravitate up to level up here above. Although sometimes it doesn't have to. It can kind of stop short.
What's that level? Horizontal line. What's that price?
Down 350. Down 350. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So 350 might be a target. The question now is like, why are we having such a hard time breaking through? Well, it's because even on log fibs, it's as Matt was showing, we're under resistance, 2.272. The question is, has NVIDIA pushed through as 2.272 before? The answer is yes, it has. If you look at the last cycle before, this is log fibs, by the way, so it's not just linear fib. So it's going to be even more exponential. So the question is, has it pushed through 2.272 before? Yes, it has. The last cycle pushed all the way to 2.618, right? And above, beyond that, go to the next, horizontal level over there. And then what about the, what about the cycle before that? The cycle before that, it did end up hitting, it did end up getting short of the 2.272, right? I think the market's deciding whether 2.272 is like the top. I don't think it is. I think it's probably going to end up going higher from here. I just don't know whether it's getting to like 200s or 350. The trend is getting a little bit exhausted. You look at Bollinger Band. You know how I was talking about with like Tesla, whenever you see the big Bollinger expansion, that's like a very, very parabolic, thing. I think this is where like Palantir is at right now. I think this is like where Palantir is at like right now, right? I think this is like where maybe Palantir is at like right now. But right now, NVIDIA is just kind of like how it did back here from August 2020 to April 2021. It just went sideways here for so long that the Bollinger Band looks like, hey, you got a nice bull trend going, but it's getting a little tired. So it just decided to come back from Earth. Now you're seeing it appearing here over here. Just because it appears back from Earth doesn't mean it's over. Like right over here, it appears back from Earth, still make a little bit of a higher high here. Like here, it appears from down here, it still makes a pretty nice kind of like a blow off top over here. So I think we still got another leg up after this solid consolidation, because we had that last cycle. We also had the cycle before that. So I think we still have some room to go up. I just don't know how high it's going to go. But right now it's stuck. So that's pretty much it. I think we can talk about Bitcoin, XRP. I don't know. I have a Bitcoin chart here real quick on the daily.
There's a question about the Ichimoku cloud on Palantir about being extended from the cloud.
Don't worry about it. The reason why is because I'm going to show you Bitcoin.
I would like to field an answer for that question then myself.
Yeah, don't worry about it, because whenever you have a bullish cycle, things stay away from the Ichimoku cloud for a very long time. Eventually it gets gravitated back to it, but it can be like years from there, right? Like this is what an exponential asset looks like. If you look at what Tesla did, yeah, it stays away from the cloud for a very long time, but eventually it gravitates back towards it, right? But it could be years from now. So imagine you just kind of take off away from the cloud, and then you're talking about, like 2 years later, the cloud's finally catching up. Eventually you do end up having to gravitate back to gravity. But it could be years and much, much more gain from there before you do that.
Yeah, we could be in Uranus by that time.
Yeah, and you could be the Klingons at that time. So, like, I don't necessarily worry about the fact that what I do worry about, I don't like when price get a little bit too far away from the monthly Tenkan and Kijun, like the conversion baseline. If they get a little bit too far from that, that's when I'm like, okay, maybe a little bit sideways consolidation. Like this peak over here for Bitcoin, like it was way too far from the Tenkan. So you had to kind of gravitate back to where it's down there, right? Same thing, way too far, way too fast is correct sideways here a little bit. So I'm not really worried about, being away from the cloud. That doesn't really concern me. If you just look at cycle behavior, like high risk assets, it's just whenever it blows up like that, it can just keep going up like that for like 2 years, and eventually 2 or 3 years later, you come back and you touch it, and that's fine. Looking at Bitcoin here on the daily, you can see how it has really kind of got a little bit of a change of behavior here. Whenever it made this blink up, it was a little bit exhausted up here. It needed to kind of correct, and when it corrected, the 20-day moving average was becoming less possibly slope, becoming more flat, became a vulnerable spot, and creeps like Matt would come in and just penetrate through it.
Well, I'm reading DNW's comment right now.
And then you might end up in a flat. Ooh, okay. So you can see how it ended up being a tweezer top over here, and it just ended up finding vulnerability here, penetrated down, get really close, like it just got to a low Bollinger Band here, bounce. As the trend got exhausted, the 20-day became negative sloping, right? So it did have a push through up a Bollinger Band, but when it came back trying to back test, because it's still a little bit negative sloping, it just simply slipped down, like Pamela Anderson in a fountain, like it just slipped down like that. And guess you know what I'm talking about. And then it just came back and touched the lower Bollinger Band right there, like almost exactly, right? Decided to bounce, trying to challenge it again. Had the big giant scary wick over here that did nothing for 3 days, and then right now we're piercing back. So there's a little bit of change in trend behavior, right? Positive, negative, flattening, getting back over it. Right now, the 20-day moving average is flat. I think there's a good chance. I don't want to jinx myself, but I think there's a good chance, despite tomorrow's volatility with CPI, you might see some crazy stuff. But I think there's a good chance because it touched the low Bollinger Band down here because it got back over. I think it's probably going to end up grabbing back up to upper Bollinger Band here. Maybe we'll see 100,000 Bitcoin again soon. Maybe that's going to be the next logical move for me to do. I don't know which path it's going to take. Is it going to be down, up, or is it going to be whipsaw up, or is it just going straight up? I don't know the answer to that. But to me, I think that would be like the next level for it to kind of get to. Is kind of what I'm looking at here. I mean, I can talk about the higher time frame stuff. I just only have one more point to make, and I'll pass it on to you guys. One is a lot of people got scared about this inverted hammer top, or whatever you call it, shooting star candle or whatever. Matt had a very good point. This is an inside candle to this big giant green candle over here. So usually, if an inside candle, the next thing that's going to happen is going to be bullish continuation, and we're seeing a little bit of that so far. It's still early in the month. You're only halfway through, but you got a little bit of bullish engulfing candle over here. It looks like it wants to probably gravitate back to very much an expanding upper Bollinger Band, and we still haven't really had that lower Bollinger Band expansion that we pretty much had every. Let me see. Yeah, we pretty much have every single cycle with Bitcoin. You usually get a crazy Bollinger Band expansion because price just becomes really parabolic because whales just accumulate down here for about 2 years and they want to distribute to you all. And when you all are talking about how bearish something is, that's when they are like, okay, we'll still keep on buying. But whenever you end up having that big parabolic phase where things are really making all-time highs after all-time highs for months and months on end, that's when you have the Bollinger Band expansion. That's when you suck everybody in. That's when the low Bollinger Band goes all the way down to the ground. That still hasn't happened yet. Do I think that every single cycle has to play out the same? Well, if you think that things are going to be different this time, then no. But I think that that's not a very wise thing to do if you believe in cycle behavior. I just think that we have a little bit more juice. That's all. Anyway, I'm going to pass it to you guys.
Well, yeah, I think that about covers it, and I don't really.
All right,
I'm bored now. No, Tracker, do you have more to add, or I see XRP is on the move now, 274. 274. No, let's go to Bitcoin first.
Okay.
XRP, it'll still be there. Go ahead. Show me your Bitcoin, because for me, there's no change. It's just still in a range. It's waiting to break out. So, yeah, that's all.
All right. I got my Bitcoin chart here for you. Yeah, great. So I did a lot of charting this morning, late this morning on Bitcoin. And what was I looking for? I was trying to follow. So first of all, I've got this really kind of cool. This is a weekly chart. Yeah, I built this on a weekly basis, starting from 15,479. It goes out for 315 weeks. That's a multiple of 45. for the Gann magic. And here's my angle if you want to repeat it. You can run this video back and just kind of type that in or whatever. But anyway, what I did was I took from here to here. Where is that line? I had a nice line on here. From like right about here. Oh, wait, no, I just messed it up. It goes from here. From my wave 1 top through my wave 3 top. And it's sort of, this is my 45 angle right here. And it actually does. It goes really perfectly from the 15,479. This is a linear chart, by the way, linear chart. And it just goes right through my 1 and right through the 3. And so that's the angle I chose. And then what's really cool is what has been happening here. I drew the chart, I think, like late December. And so I could already see, oh, look, after I matched these up, I had all these wicks following the top of this Gann arc down. It's like, oh, man, that looks so cool. And I think I showed this chart a couple weeks ago, and I said, I was ready for it to go back up here and start going this way. And I said, I hope it doesn't come back down again. And guess what it did? I jinxed it last week, and I said, I think it's going to go higher, Real Blonde Broker, and it went lower. And then now it did. And today it came back down and wicked down and touched this Gann arc one more time. But that being said, if this is as much as the wave 4 as we get now, and my wave 2 was pretty long, then maybe if this could be a sharp wave 4, and we could get it going up to the Matt's 141.4 extension from here's the 100% to the 0, from 0 to 100%, that extends to 141.4 back to 100. That gives us 116,000 to 108,000, and then that lets me do a whole. No, these are all done. Here's the fib extensions. So if I took 89,164 as the wave start, this 160, this hypothetical that hasn't happened yet, 116,313 for the wave 1, and back to 108 for the wave 2, then that gives me, let's see. Oh yeah, because this is the all of wave 1, all of wave 2. So usually I draw like the subwave 1, subwave 2, but that would be about like 618,236, then 123.6 for the wave 3 top, about 141,000, almost 142,000, back to a longer wave 4 bottom that you can see follows the bottom of this this bottom arc here, this upper arc now, the green arc, down to about 132,000, and then tops out at 178,222 for the 2618, which has confluence with this magic Gann horizontal line that comes, it extends from the bottom arc and then just goes straight out. And that's right at 178,222. So that's why I drew it like this. And I don't know what happens after that. I'm kind of messing around with it still. Is that like a cycle top and it has like a really big retrace? Maybe not, maybe it just does one of these things. But anyway, ignore the ABC part. This is my target for Bitcoin now. A cycle top of 178,000.
Noise.
Yeah, Matt's totally bored by like 175. Yeah,
Yeah.
He just wants to talk about XRP.
Well, no,
My Coinbase just told me that XRP hit a 30-day high of $2.77.
Yeah, it did. I'll quickly show my Bitcoin chart before I go to XRP. But yeah, there's no change, guys. Like the 91,158, we got that nice liquidity grab underneath it, and it bounced nice. But you still got the conversion line above at 98.76 that it's got to overcome. Then the 102 is still going to get overcome. So it's ultimately just still stuck in a range. There's really nothing to report back, right? But the good news is on the daily chart is it's starting to get back above some averages right here, above the katana of the conversion line and baseline right there. So this actually has potential now to go higher. So I think we could see higher than and no more lower, right? We'll see. As long as it stays above this price, 95,962, I could see it going higher. And my screen is black saying picture in picture.
I don't know how to help with that. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't understand that either.
Just really quickly in numbers, I wanted to mention that from the all-time high of 108,364 back down to this most recent higher low of 89,164, that magic 78.6% fib is 104,255. So look for a wick that kind of hits 104,255, then does one more last test back, maybe about 98,764, and then that lets us get the new higher highs, which hopefully takes us to this 141 extension I was talking about of 116,313. So 104,255 is the magic number.
Well, I got a magic number for you for XRP, and that's 282. So that's the number it's got to break above to get more bullish. Matt got too close to Uranus. Yes, I did. And what we're
never too close.
Never too close. You can never be too close, right? Penetrate that. Okay. 225 was always the level to hold, and it just spent a few weeks down there, and it did hold. But I want to show you something cool on linear scale, guys. It's getting above the 786 right now, the 263.092, and it actually has a possibility to close a weekly candle above that. Basically, it's amazing, right? That's 263. So we got 4 days, 23 hours left until the weekly candle close, but I think it has potential to go, right? And once it closes above that, I think it can go higher. And I'll share with you what I've been showing my tier 4 on Patreon is my 4-hour chart I show every day. And this is where I get my levels, guys. I said needs to break 257. Why? It was the ARK here. The ARK. It was 257, and sure enough, once it broke out, wicked below, it just took off. See, 257, and then I said 282. That's the next level it has to break right there. That's the next level up here. So this is coming to resistance right here, and that was a previous resistance zone right here. And then after that, it's basically all-time highs, and I got to draw a new Gann square because
I can smell Uranus from here.
It smells juicy. Yeah, so it's coming, right? It's coming. That's what she said.
Oh my gosh.
But no, it's really it's a bullish chart. It's one of my most bullish charts in all of crypto. And I think I love it the best. And I've been a fan of it for a long time. And not only that, we can see that this trend line basically, if we put it on log scale, it was broken, right? It was broken too, that trend line. So yeah, this is something that's bullish. It's got lots of staying power, and I think once it closes the week above that 786, I think it'll be good to go towards all-time highs. So I think we're pretty close to it. Maybe even this month, right? Maybe even this month it'll be all-time highs.
I can smell it.
Well, let me show my XRP chart real quick, just to show a couple of places that might be of interest on the way up here from here. So here's where I started my XRP chart, back down when it was like less than, gosh, a hundredth of a cent, or less than a cent anyway. I took, let's see, yep, here's my wave 1 top, my wave 2 bottom was right here. And then my wave extensions take it to the 764. Oh, look at that, 264 and 6 thousandths. And it went right just a little bit higher than that. Then I thought it would come back to the 382, $1.38. It did not. What did it do? It came back to the 618 and maybe just a smidge lower. Basically just the 618 is as low as it went back after that. And then now we're back up here again. So my next target normally would be the 1382, but maybe because it only came down to the 618, it might push it up a little higher. I'm thinking maybe the psychological, right now I'm thinking 508, and then it tests back to, normally this would have gone 1382 back to the 100% here, but I don't know, there's not enough space in there. So I'm really just I'm thinking back to the 120.6 for $4.21, and then the 2382 for $8, but maybe even the 2618 for $8.79. And there we go. And I think Matt Matt and I both have confluence around here between $8 and $9. We're still not sure about that, but it's close enough for horseshoes and hand grenades and XRP. So, but $5 next, either $4.69 or $5, somewhere in there, is where I think we'll hit the next glass ceiling that we need to shatter.
Yeah. And Kat, your XRP thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I already shared my thoughts with that one sentence I just said, so I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah.
No charts.
I can smell it. I can smell
it. Matt typed to some of his. Somebody asked a question about, XRP and what if crypto is made tax free. If they don't tax crypto, Matt said that it could even cycle up again.
American cryptos. If Trump doesn't tax American cryptos, which XRP is included, then that's it could be the most valuable coin in the world, right?
Yep.
So
you thought maybe
which coins are un-American? Anyway,
Ethereum.
Ooh,
and Bitcoin. I mean, Nakamoto. So yeah, we'll see.
What about Doc with hat? Anyway, that's
yeah.
So I think it's getting close to almost 9 o'clock. There are a few requests. You want me to maybe like do a little bit of lightning round and just kind of like round it up? Or?
You can do that. I want to answer Martin's question about the cloud too, because he wanted my idea of it. And it's the same as the other guys. If the momentum's in the favor of the cloud, or if of the stock, if it just keeps on going and going and going and going, then it can take years for it to go back to the cloud, right? We don't always have to go back, but with Palantir specifically, it's almost touching the daily cloud now. So sometimes the daily cloud is good enough, right? Time might just need to pass and get to the daily cloud before going back higher. So yeah, it doesn't always have to touch the weekly cloud, but sometimes it can just keep going and going and going.
Yeah.
But go ahead, Kat.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Tracker.
I was going to say, I often think about the Ichimoku cloud as the battle zone, like between two warring factions, the Bears and the Bulls. And that's like the no man's land in between the two sides. And so when you see price on a lower time scale fall into the Ichimoku cloud, that means that the Bears and the Bulls are they're going at it with bayonets and fisticuffs and hand-to-hand combat. And then once you get like above a green Ichimoku cloud, then the Bulls have won. If you get stuck under the cloud, then the Bears are currently winning. So here in Palantir, Bears on the 4-hour chart, Bears are winning right now. But look, you can already see the Ichimoku conversion line starting to curve up a little bit. And my moving average 75 lets you know where to train all the sniper sites. This is where, like right between the 50 and the 100 is moving average 75. This is where price wants to eventually always gravitate back to. It's like a moving point of control in my mind. That's basically it. And a lot of times you see it follow the Ichimoku clouds. So I like Ichimoku cloud plus moving average 75 on every time frame. That's it. That's all I wanted to say about that.
It's a good strategy.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great strategy. All right,
come on, lightning.
Lightning.
Kramer, I'm Jim Kramer. So, I don't know. Okay, GME. This is a monthly chart GME. What you're seeing here is a Bollinger Band. The Bollinger Band is expanding. You can see that this is really a very nice trend change where 20-month moving average, which is inside the monthly Bollinger Band here, is turning from negative sloping resistance here, to now positive sloping. You see that is totally touching the 20-month average when it's becoming flat. Is really confirming that's really supported. Is really wanting to just kind of ride up along the upper Bollinger Band here. Now you can see that currently we're about halfway into the month. And we got a little bit of a bearish engulfing candle here. That's a little bit scary, right? You got a little bit of a trees or a little trident top over here is a little bit tiny scary, but not to be scared because sometimes the month is not over yet. And even if you get a bearish engulfing candle like it did over here, here, it doesn't necessarily mean anything because you can just kind of go sideways here a little bit, consolidate sideways here a little bit. The trend overall is changing from negative sloping to positive sloping. I think GME is probably going to do just fine over time. And if you're also looking at the daily here, it did something pretty remarkable. I was kind of looking at the bullish band here. If you just do nothing, just look at bullish band, you can see actually a lot of things. For example, you can see that how I also want to really put up the RSI here. When we put up the RSI, you can totally see how it's been going up on bearish divergence. You can see RSI is going down. You can see prices going up. The trend over here has been a little bit exhausting. You can either correct sideways or you can correct through price. And it's just today it's just decided to correct through price. Was it correct through price through huge volume? Not really. It's a little bit uptake volume, but it's not too bad. And you can totally see that it's finding support so far. Obviously, tomorrow the bullish band is going to continue to expand to the downside. There's potential for the price to go down a lot lower. I did not buy here though because I find that to be a pretty decent zone to buy. And also, if you also pull up the Ichimoku cloud here, if I can, you can also see it's kind of getting close back to the Ichimoku cloud here. Sometimes it doesn't have to just find support right at the Ichimoku cloud. Sometimes it can just be get a little bit inside of it or touch it. But the daily is a little bit less predictable. But you can see how it basically just broke through the cloud over here and back tested the cloud. That's exactly what it's doing right now. Right? So am I scared about GME? No. If you also look at a weekly time frame here, you can also pull up all these other moving averages here. You can see finally you got 20 over 50 over 100. You can also see where support bands all the way down here. So it can price can go all the way back down to 25. And this is still going to be a pretty bullish chart for me. As far as I'm concerned, if you also clear all of these indicators away, you can also see that really it's been just over the last few months, it's been really making a higher high here. It's been trying to find a higher low. There's a whole cup over here, and it's just basically back testing a breakout zone over here. It's looking pretty decent right now. So I'm not really that worried about GME. Let's talk about FUBO here. Somebody asked about, not FUBO. There's no such thing as FUBO. If you're doing this like stock buying thing, it's probably never a good idea if you buy the stock here at the upper Bollinger Band and way outside the upper Bollinger Band, which is exactly where FUBO decided to go. It was just got a lot of buying pressure, and it went way outside the upper Bollinger Band. If you were buying way outside the upper Bollinger Band, you probably doing it wrong because most likely, overwhelming majority of cases, you end up going back down into the upper Bollinger Band before it expands. And it got, so far, it's got, a little bit rejected here, doesn't it? If you look at the weekly, it's basically showing the same thing, where it just kind of pushed through the upper Bollinger Band. It touched upper Bollinger Band here a little bit, thinking that, hey, maybe we just go higher from here, but simply the weekly Bollinger just simply has to expand fast enough yet. There's a potential for this week to even come back down and touch the upper Bollinger Band here again, which is going to be around 3.64 is where it's at right now. It's going to change dynamically, but that's probably where it's going to touch. Now, is that level going to hold? We don't know. There's always a puzzle, right? But it's interesting too. If you look at a weekly Ichimoku cloud, you can see that it's actually holding the conversion and the baseline here almost perfectly, right? It is trying to find support here at that zone. There's also a potential for it to kind of go sideways here, wait for Bollinger Band to come up next week and still be up above the upper Bollinger Band this week here, and just kind of go sideways, wait for it to catch up and then go higher. Or it might end up correcting. What's most likely a scenario for a chart like this? Most likely it's going to end up consolidating for at least a few weeks, if not like through time, if not through price. I don't think it's going to get like ready to just go pump up again. I could be wrong, but whenever you see something like this, I saw something like this with like Alibaba, for example, back here. Back in September, you see something like that, you end up correcting all the way back down to the 20-month moving average, right? I don't think it's necessarily going to have to happen with FUBO, but do I think FUBO over in the long term, is it turning from negative sloping bear trend to a positive sloping uptrend? Yes, it is. It really is. I just don't know how much it's going to have to correct this big giant move up. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just going to keep going, bam, 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 just keep going up. But generally, that's not how stocks work. So I'm going to be a little bit more careful when it comes to FUBO. I missed the move. If I would have bought down here, I'd probably just hold because I don't know. But I'd probably just leave this thing alone here. That's FUBO. That's how somebody asked about CleanSpark. Let's talk about CleanSpark. What is CleanSpark doing? It's a little bit losing momentum here. You can see how it's gotten underneath the 20-month moving average. But the 20-month moving average is still pointing upwards. So I think there's still a chance for it to kind of go up and try to reclaim it. It is getting a little bit less positive sloping. So it's a little bit worrisome. You're going to make fun of me. But if I do, you see how it's kind of like overshoots the 20-month moving average, undershoots the 20-month average. If we actually change that to a 6-week chart instead of looking at monthly, you can see how everything gets really, really smooth. You can see how the low, not bullish, but 20-month average here is sort of support, resistance, support, right? When things flip from resistance to support, generally it's pretty bullish. So I'm still remaining pretty bullish on CleanSpark overall. It's been stuck in the range for a very long time, and but it's okay because really what it's doing is basically just stuck in a range right now, right? It's stuck between a little bit of slightly negative sloping 20-week moving average, but it's starting to turn flat here, so we have a little bit more better chance to kind of break through and break above. Right now, it's still holding the 100-week moving average. 100-week moving average, which is the black curve over here, has been very, very good support over here, and it's very good resistance over here. It's very good resistance over here. It's very good support here. Very good resistance over here. So it's a pretty important line. It's basically still respecting it so far. So I still think that Clean Spark is just doing its thing, consolidating sideways. And if Bitcoin is going to go to $175,000, like what Tracker is saying, I think Clean Spark is just going to do just fine. So not anything that I'm particularly worried. It's basically just stuck in a wedge, is consolidating, is waiting for its next move. If you're bullish on the market, which we are, if you're bullish on Bitcoin, I think Clean Spark is going to do just fine, despite dilution, despite flights. HIMS. Let's talk about HIMS real quick. Higher highs, higher low, done. Right? I mean, I don't have anything else to say about it. Look at Fibonacci. Like, if you just look at Fibonacci, it's really just back testing the previous all-time high over here. There's really nothing else to talk about. If you're looking at the whole, like, whole Bollinger Band strategy, which we can do, I can go pull up the Bollinger Band here. You can see how the Bollinger Band continues to expand to the upside and to the downside, right? It's just so volatile. Sometimes it curls up here, but it continues to expand. So this is still a very, very nice bull trend. I'm not really worried about HIMS. How high can HIMS go? Who knows? I think it's probably going to go to $40 whenever it's done solid sideways with you. And I don't know where the cycle is going to end. Robinhood, what's Robinhood doing? It's bullish. On the monthly chart here, you see Bollinger Band is expanding. It wants to just keep going up higher. Are we worried about any divergences here? I'm not worried about any bearish divergence here on the monthly. On the weekly, I think it's actually, it broke this bearish divergence here. It's kind of already gone up here. I think it's got a lot more room for it to go. I honestly think that it's just correcting sideways over here. It's one of the more bullish fintech stock charts. Even if anything that's related to crypto, I think it's probably one of the more bullish charts here. I have a 30 GAN here. Matt might not like my 30 GAN and Tracker. You also do 30 GANs. So I got the it's got some pretty decent market symmetry that is kind of hovering around this arc over here. I think it's going to go to 0.786, which is confluent with this GAN horizontal here after it's been hovering around this arc here for a very long time. It just makes sense for it to go to about $50. What happens after $50 stays in $50. I don't have anything else to say about that. I think that's pretty much it. I'm not going to go to those are pretty much the major requests, so I'm done.
That's awesome. I'll do LUNR real quick. I just see Martin Hain asking for our opinion on LUNR. I see it as being in a is that my chart?
Yeah, somebody should listen to Cat speak on 2x speed while he's doing 2x speed.
I know, right? You'd be like intelligible. Did you want to say something about XRP, Matt?
Oh, sorry. My mistake, guys. My mistake.
XRP is looking delicious right now. Here's LUNR. Oh, it's fine. Intuitive Machines. I see it as being in this wave 5 now, and it's doing a bit of a ending diagonal here. Well, actually, I think what it's really doing is a leading diagonal, because this is going to become a larger degree wave 1, correct into a wave 2, and then get bigger. But for right now, this chart did kind of a 100%, 50%, 150%, 100%. And so I'm looking for, I should probably be looking for 250%. You can see that this cell block is pretty wide. They're casting a big net here. But let's look for 3321. The 2382 is pretty safe. If your cost basis is anywhere from, today on back, then you should probably think about starting to sell into the 30s, I'd say, with LUNR, and then get, hold some cash and get ready to buy it back on a corrective wave. Probably it's going to be, it really depends on where it ends up, but gosh, I did it backwards again. Stop from here to here, but let's use Matt's. Nope, it's still upside down. Gosh darn it. Oh, no,
I'm completely sober. I'm completely sober, by the way. I'm not on drugs. I'm not on cocaine. I'm not on much caffeine. I'm drinking like chamomile tea right here. So just in case you're all wondering.
Do you drink caffeine ever?
In the morning. Yeah, like
coffee,
before
coffee,
2 p.m.
Coffee.
Sorry, Tracker.
No, it's fine. It's a good to stall the audience sometimes when I'm doing this. So yeah, 618 retrace from 33.21 would take it back down to about 22.51, kind of testing back to the wave 3 top again, which makes sense because this one has not had a gap in space between the 1 and the 4, so it may not have a gap between the 5 and the 3 either. So yeah, maybe this comes back down to about 22.51, and then that becomes a larger degree wave 1, wave 2, and then builds on up from there. So anyway, LUNR sell into the 30s, I'd say. Start selling into the 30s. Let's see. Oh, wow. Martin Hayne wants to hold this one for 5 or more years. Looking for a good entry point. The good entry point is now. Let's see. What else do we have? Is there anything else that people saw?
I think I knocked off most of them. Like, I think
You
some of these
did. You did. We went right through it. Oh, can you show me Tiger? That's my request. I want to see Tiger.
I got a chart too that I can go over that we haven't talked about right here. XRP. All right, go ahead, Kat.
I mean, there's nothing much to talk about in terms of like specific levels. To be completely honest, this is what happened to FUBO, right? You have a big giant wick above, and then you just have to consolidate sideways over here for a few months. That's exactly what like TIGR, or up holdings, whatever it's called. Yeah, I know that's how much I care about the fundamentals, like whatever it's called. Let's see a big giant wick that goes up above, and it's just kind of forming a bull flag over here. Like it's simply just waiting for the upward Bollinger to expand up. It's a bull trend. It's really flipping the 20-month from the negative to sloping to positive sloping here. It's like there's nothing else. It's underneath the Ichimoku conversion and baseline resistance. It's still trying to fight its stuff. I would say this is probably like, this is like wave. I guess this is like whole thing is probably wave 1, and right now like this kind of just correcting wave 2. I don't know if it's going to be a long or short wave 2. I don't know, but I still think that it's still at like the early stages. If you also look in a weekly here, it basically just illustrates this perfectly, right? You have a big giant horizontal zone over here where it's been resistance all the way from like 2022 all the way up to when it broke out on huge volume in September 2024. So you have 2.5 years of this resistance zone being broken. You're coming back and back testing it. I'm not really that concerned about it. I think it just has to do what it has to do. If you're looking at the higher time frame, it's just trying to find some solid grounding here before going up higher, because it just simply couldn't go higher yet because of the Bollinger Band. But you're going to start having these like support down here below these moving averages, and this is like the 20-month, right? If you look at the weekly, you did end up digging down below like the below support band, but stocks do that all the time. All I really care about is whether or not it's got a bull trend, and the answer is yes, right? 20 above 50 above 100. So you're going to have you have a bull trend developing on the weekly, and I think that's going to end up being more powerful over time. Even here, you can see like we didn't quite have like the 100 week, but you can see how you're flipping all these moving averages to the bull side, and things can consolidate sideways here for a little bit longer. But once they're done correcting, you can dip underneath the 20 here. That's fine, but it's probably going to correct sideways here a little bit. It just gives you a little bit more time to buy. But this is a bull trend, and I'm just going to keep buying. This is the only Chinese stock that I own that I'm buying. I'm not buying anything else. I think this has pretty high beta when it comes to like the Chinese market. I think Alibaba is a little bit of a laggard, but yeah, that's my thought on TIGR.
All right, very cool. Thanks.
TIGR. I think it's 9 o'clock, guys. We're making good time. You guys want to close out with any thoughts or? Yeah.
Yeah, this one chart that I keep looking at right here.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
Come back to me when it makes an all-time high, Matt. I mean, like, just so.
Okay, when you wake up in the morning, maybe that'll be the all-time high, right? You never know.
Yeah.
So, let's see. But yeah, I mean, $9 is next, guys. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming probably within months. I think.
Yeah,
I think Kat would agree at this point.
As reluctant as I am to agree, I agree with it. Yeah. It's going there probably. Yeah.
Soon.
All right. Well,
Very soon.
Thank you so much for another fantastic Triumvirate show. Without you, audience members, it would not be possible. We really appreciate you all.
We would probably just still do it and talk to ourselves anyways.
Well,
It's true because we truly like. I mean, it's obvious that we enjoy it. There's no,
Yeah.
you know, there's nothing to doubt about that. Like I'm not here because I'm trying to like shield anything. I don't care. But yeah, welcome. Thank you. We're going to do this hopefully every week on Tuesday evening, and we enjoy each other's company and we enjoy yours as well with your crazy comments. I hope my weird things I say every week aren't scaring the ladies away, or the really timid guys. Come on, just open up. It's fine. Don't it's all good. Anyway, thank you for joining. Any famous last words? No.
To the moon and beyond.
beyond.
Tracker?
Yeah.
No, nothing.
Don't get excited when the market turns red because it's buying opportunities, and think about what you could be trimming off of when things get really green. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, and don't sweat the petty stuff. Pet the sweaty stuff.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love that. Let's just end on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, when bad times come, just give each other wedgies and then rip, their underwear so they rip from here. So you're fine. Don't worry about it. Or maybe not. Maybe we're gonna crash on here. I mean, I don't really know.
Tomorrow it's down negative $1 million.
Next thing you know, like the market goes down 80%, and like, yeah. Well, just kidding.
Well, that's when you run away from X forever.
No, I'm gonna be louder. I'm gonna say how much more are you gonna crash? It's already down 80%. Anyway,
All right,
it's been fun. It's been real.
Have a good one.
All right.